Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues.
Hello, it's Adam here.
Get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
A hypnosis session that will help you to give up smoking. And this session was actually created for a client that was smoking around about 20 a day. And a large part of it was actually just the habits, the routines of dealing with a busy, stressful life. But she didn't really want that as part of her future because she knew it would have a detrimental impact on her health and her ability to spend time with the people that she really wanted to, her family. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is an element of regression. So the regression takes her back to the point where she first started smoking, which for most people is quite a disgusting experience. They're doing it to fit in, or they're doing it to meet the approval of the people around them in most cases, or it's a sense of curiosity because they've seen parents smoke. But normally it's not an enjoyable experience because the body tends to have a reaction to smoking because the lungs don't like it. But then you're going to hear two different timelines, a timeline where she continues to smoke, and we're associating into the consequences of smoking. So what it does in terms of accelerating her aging, what it does to her health, what it does to potentially influencing the people around her, like her children that might decide to smoke because they see their mum smoking. So there's an element of that, but then there's an alternative timeline where she gets to observe a future version of herself where she is a non-smoker. This is designed to create an opportunity to step into a new identity. And I've worked with hundreds of addicts, hundreds of people that had unhealthy habits. The key to change, the core element of change, is creating a new identity that doesn't have that habit or that addiction as part of the future identity. So you'll get a sense of that from this hypnosis session. Of course, some of the references are relevant and only relevant to the individual that I'm working with because it was created for someone else. So if you're listening to this and it's not quite right for you, just know it was created for someone else, and that there will be a link nearby that you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call with me to explore what it would be like to work with me directly. For now, though, what would be ideal is if you find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed and just relax and enjoy the session, because you might find that this session is all you need to become a non-smoker. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. Feeling how good it feels just to be able to breathe in. And as you exhale, that's it. Relax your eyelids, enabling yourself to go deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right. Breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation and becoming aware of any clues, any signs of tension, perhaps around your jaw, your forehead, your eyes, your neck, your shoulders. And the clues of tension are that something doesn't feel quite right. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, you're giving permission to let go of that tension, to release any feelings of tension, to allow it to just leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to entertain the idea of just how important a single breath is. Your body can last weeks without food. days without sleep or without water, but only minutes without a breath. And I want you to create a vivid image of your lungs. This ability for you to breathe in and for your heart to take oxygen from your lungs and distribute it to every cell in your body is very dependent on the health of those lungs. I want you to imagine, as you picture perfectly healthy lungs, just imagine those lungs having tiny fragments of dust put into them. And then imagine a black thick tar slowly over time being built up in those lungs, reducing the lung and its ability to take oxygen from the air. I want you to imagine a fish swimming in crystal clear water. Its gills are able to take oxygen from the water and enable that to breathe. And then I want you to imagine pouring dirt and sand and thick tar into the crystal clear water where that fish is trying to breathe. I want you to see how easy it is for that fish to get sick, to struggle, to extract the oxygen from the water around it. And just hold that thought as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, appreciating of just how good it is to breathe. I want you to start to relax even deeper, and I want you to imagine a beautiful cove on a sandy beach, completely private. Just imagine it's you giving a gift of time to yourself to just be with you and enjoy the sound of the sea, the feeling of sun on your skin, perhaps sand under your toes. Get this wonderful feeling of being at ease with yourself. I want you to imagine there is the most comfortable chair there on that beach, in that cove. The kind of chair that shouldn't be on a beach, and yet it is. And imagine sitting on that chair looking out at the sea, seeing the sun shimmer off the surface of the waves. As you notice that you can breathe deeper and deeper. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, just allow feelings of tension, stress, and worry to leave your body in that outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. In fact, I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and you will imagine what it would be like to get 10% deeper and deeper relaxed with each descending number until you're so relaxed there on that chair that you can imagine falling into a deep sleep. 5, just feeling that any muscles in your eyelids around your eyes are just releasing that tension. Muscles in the forehead, just feel that tension melt away all the way down to your jaw. Your whole face is just enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, that relaxation now spreading to your neck, spreading to your shoulders. That's right, enabling you to let go of that tension and feel that relaxation going all the way down your arms to the very tips of your fingers. And then 3, feeling that as you breathe in, even your internal organs are starting to relax. Your lungs relax, your heart relaxes, your stomach, your diaphragm, and notice that you're breathing lower from your chest, breathing deeper down towards your belly, enabling you to breathe more oxygen in and exhale more tension. That's it. 2, feeling that relaxation spread down into your legs. Legs and arms feeling limp, loose, heavy, so deeply relaxed. As you give yourself permission to go to a wonderful place where change can take place. Some people call it hypnosis, some people call it meditation, some people call it a deep sleep. But go to that place as we go to 1, feeling your feet, your toes, your fingers, all starting to deeply relax. And you can feel that relaxation in your skin as you go even deeper relaxed. And that's it. Just imagine falling asleep there on that comfortable chair, going into a dream. And I want you to imagine in that dream, you're on the same beach, in the same cove, and you're seeing that version of you fast asleep. I want you to lift up your arm from your wrist and just feel how limp, loose that arm is, and you can let it go and just see it flop back down onto the chair, giving you an idea that your conscious mind is in a deep sleep, but your imagination is vividly alert. And I want you to imagine here in this place, you can float up and you can visit different places in time, the past, the present, and the future. And I want you to go back to a time when perhaps you tried your first cigarette. I want you to observe yourself, the age you were, the people you were with, the circumstances, that very first time that you tried it, and just observe that version of you. Maybe there was curiosity, maybe there was peer pressure, maybe there was something else going on that made it appealing to you at that particular point in time. And as you observe yourself trying it, I want you to hone in on that very first feeling of that very first experience of smoking, and that the first reaction was not pleasure, not relief. The very first experience was disgust. Your body had a reaction. And if you can observe that reaction on that younger version of you, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to step into that body, rewind that moment to before you had that very first cigarette. Feel the cigarette in your hand. Perhaps imagine lighting it. Imagine taking it to your lips. And then reconnect with that very first experience, the truest experience of smoking that your body ever had. Before nicotine had changed your perception, before it became a habit, a routine, before it was linked to moments and memories, that very first time was a biological reaction. And tap into that feeling of discomfort, perhaps disgust. Your lungs weren't used to having this foreign substance there, infecting that clean air, and it had a reaction. And I want you to hone in on that reaction, realizing that that is what smoking really is. And then go forwards in time to the present. And I want you to imagine seeing a pathway that splits into two different timelines, two different futures. There is a future where you continue to smoke. And there is a future where you become a non-smoker and it's just something that you have no desire to do. And let's experience the future where things don't change. I want you to imagine traveling down that future. I want you to observe the version of you that is smoking many times a day, perhaps while checking a phone, perhaps as a reward for a hard day, a stressful day. And notice how casually you do it. It doesn't require effort. It's fully on autopilot. It's just something that version of you does. I want you to entertain the idea that there are some changes that are rapid, and there are some changes that take place over time. And I want you to observe this version of you over time, and then step into that version of you and feel what it feels like to just feel that you need to smoke, to keep on having those cigarettes. And as you do it, notice that you tell yourself, whatever you tell yourself, the story that keeps you smoking, even when you know what it's doing. And I want you to feel like months have gone by and you're continuing to smoke. You get a sense of the smell on your clothes, your hair. I want you also to observe that it doesn't deliver on its promises. Is it really me time if you can only smoke while checking your phone? Does it really relieve you if it isn't something that you can truly enjoy just in doing it and nothing else? As time goes on, you see more and more people around you that just don't smoke. Maybe you've started secretly smoking. Maybe you're hiding the amount that you smoke. Tap into that feeling of embarrassment. I want you to get a sense that in the same way that you judge other people that smoke, there'll be other people that judge you. But that's not even the most important thing. You as a smoker represents the version of you not in control of your destiny. Because who would choose a destiny where you age quicker? Who would choose a destiny that takes the youth and beauty and erodes that? Who would choose a destiny that would inspire the people that you love the most to do something equally damaging? But I want you to go to that future. I want you to go to a future where you're coughing more and more frequently, that you're getting sick, which means you have to take time off from working, from doing the thing that you enjoy and love. But I want you to go further in the future. Perhaps 10 years in the future, maybe 20 years in the future. And at this point, I want you to imagine that your children are also now smoking because they look up to you. And they've developed a belief system that smoking is required to help with a busy life, stressful events. That in the same time that they see you having that me time, that time with yourself, they also want that. And they've arrived at the false conclusion that smoking is what gives you that feeling of reward and accomplishment. But I want you to go further in the future. A future where you've started to age at a disproportionate pace to your true age. Maybe you're 50, maybe you're 55, and I want you to see yourself in the mirror closely. Look at your teeth in the mirror. Look at your skin, particularly around your face and eyes, and notice that you're older than you should be. Look at the dryness of your lips, the aging around your eyes. And then I want you to go even further into the future where you start to get sick. A future perhaps where it becomes difficult to breathe. A future where you're a slave to this substance now, that you can't live without it. There was a time that you could change, but that time feels like it's a long time ago. That you don't have it in you anymore, but there was a time that you did. I want you to see and feel how it's taking its toll. As you try and breathe in, notice it's a struggle to breathe in. Feel the soreness in your throat and your lungs as you attempt to cough. And I want you to imagine that on one day, you're coughing so hard that blood starts coming up into your hand, a thick mucus attached to that blood. And then go forwards in time until there's an appointment with a doctor. You've had tests and there's bad news. And feeling the weight, the terrible impact of that as you hear that news. And if you've reached the point where enough is enough, let me know by nodding your head. Change isn't about what you should do, or even what you could do. Change is about what you get to do. And I want you to imagine going all the way back in time to 15 minutes before you had that first ever cigarette. And I want you to convince yourself, that younger version of you, as to why this really isn't a good idea. And I want you to see the defiance on that face. That try as you might, you can't talk that version of you out of this. They're going to do what they do. But you can change the present. I want you to go back to the present and imagine a version of you that makes a decision. The decision that you don't like smoking, you don't need to smoke, and in fact you don't want to smoke. And I want you to see that version going through a timeline that might be difficult for the first few days. Maybe you see that version of you just drinking water a lot, just as a way of breaking that hand-to-mouth pattern. But notice that after the first few days, things get easier. I want you to see that version of you on that different timeline, in control, smelling nice, feeling more comfortable around the people you work with and the clients that you have, feeling that you've evolved in some way. Whatever the reasons were that you started smoking, were never true, were never real. But it's only when you get older that you realize that the whole premise was a lie. You don't need to smoke for social connection. You don't need to smoke for the approval of others. You don't need to smoke to feel good. In fact, some of your best days were days that you chose not to smoke. And I want you to see that version of you with more energy, with a new sense of confidence and empowerment. That version of you doesn't need to smoke, doesn't want to smoke, and takes pride in having no desire to smoke. That version of you realizes that smoking is something you used to do, but you're done with it. And why would you go back? Why would you voluntarily choose to do something that's embarrassing? Do something that is damaging to your health. Do something that makes you smell so bad and ages you and takes away that natural beauty. I want you to see a version of you that, as the days turn into weeks, you can see yourself being around other people that smoke and still having no desire to smoke. You can see yourself having a night out, perhaps with other people that maybe are smoking or vaping, with no desire. You take pride in the fact that you don't need it. And perhaps you take pride in certain other areas of your life that other people do and you have no desire to do. And you now see this version of you having no desire to smoke, no desire to vape, but getting all of those good feelings from the connection you get with other people. I want you to see you as a non-smoker, having amazing family time, and knowing that that version of you will have even more family time because statistically you will live 10 to 20 years longer. 10 to 20 years of additional family time, of amazing connections, of getting all the benefits of building a business. Why build a business? There are many smokers that die in their 60s. They don't choose that. They have a moment of realization where it's too late. It's too late to do anything different. But in this timeline, that's not you. See yourself living all the way to your 70s, 80s, 90s and beyond, and not just living, but healthy. It's not how long you live, it's the quality of life. The mindset of many smokers is that, why would I want to live longer? Because the last years of your life aren't pleasant anyway. But that's based on the idea that the last years of your life have to be spent in hospital wards, coughing up blood, struggling for breath, and getting sick all the time. But what if you could live into your 80s, 90s and beyond healthily, enjoying your life, your family, perhaps even at that age, grandchildren and even great-grandchildren, but enjoying spending time with them in a really healthy way. Hearing compliments even into the later years of your life, of how young you look, how beautiful you look. And you know that a large part of that is that one decision you made a long time ago. If this feels like a more desirable future, a future where you're in control, a future that you age in a way that preserves your health, your youth, your vitality, your energy, if this is a more desirable future, a future that appeals to you more, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to now float back to the present and imagine that it's just a few days' time. I want you to imagine that you go out for a break, you take your phone, but this time there is no cigarettes with you. There is no tobacco around you. And imagine how good it will feel just to have that break and realizing that time for yourself is reward enough. You don't need to do something in order to give the gift of time to yourself. Just time with yourself is enough. A walk outside, a quiet moment of contemplation. That's all you need to reset, to get into the zone, and then to move on with your life. And if all parts of your unconscious mind feel that this is not only desirable but doable, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to see yourself back on that cove. There is the smoker version of you, there is the non-smoker version of you, and they're both standing in front of you. You know the timeline of each, and now it's time to make a choice. And you can step into either. You can step into the version of you that is a smoker, and will continue to smoke. Or you can choose to step into the non-smoker, the version of you that doesn't need to smoke, doesn't want to smoke, doesn't mind if other people do, but has no desire to do it themselves. And when you're ready to step into the identity that you want for your future, let me know by nodding your head. And then step into that version of you. And feel like you're updating your way of thinking, your way of being, and knowing what you will now need to do to become that person. Identities are built, they're not born. And the only way this identity can be real is by you making choices that are aligned with this identity. Stay in that identity and return back to that comfortable chair, there in the cove, there in the beach, as you realize that all of this are just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams, as you now return to the present, but taking this new identity with you, this new way of thinking as to what's really important. What's important for you, what's important for your children, and what's important for your future. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all parts are back in the present, here in the moment right now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, with a new direction. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.